But the idea that men and women are equal, that's bullshit. We are complementary opposites. This whole idea around toxic masculinity and feminism, this is all bullshit. This is divide and conquer and guilt. And so influencers that don't tell people that they're on them, like the Liver King, and or people like Dave Asprey and Gary Brecka, which they don't use that on their front end advertising, that my body comes from drugs manufactured in China. What they, instead of what we see on the TV and arguing and ditty parties and transsexuality, like all this bullshit. Dude, come to fucking Sedona and go to ecstatic dance with me. I am a real man designed and desired to procreate and stick my penis in a vagina and fucking come, and fucking that excites me hormonally. I'm not confused. I'm not chemically castrated. I should say all people at the heart level want peace. 6% of the population has a propensity towards being a psychopath. You put them out in nature and nature will heal them. And their sexuality may be misfiring inside their brain. And then you get the psychological warfare and all these idiot teachers and these programs that are developed by the World Economic Forum telling them that they're homosexual, trans, pans, they're a fucking dog or an animal or just whatever this weirdo shit. It's fucking bullshit. So man needs purpose. Women, I postulate, having children is purpose enough.
Okay, we're just ready to go. And as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube or on Spotify video, you can't tell who's who. So who do we got in front of us here?
John Casey, certified health nut, super psycho chicken of cyberspace.
Yeah. Freaking love it, brother. So stoked to have you here. And for everybody that's been living under a rock that doesn't know about certified health nut, how would you describe your journey from a 3,000-foot perspective?
Wow, okay. All right, let's see how far back I can go and how quick I can synopsize it. So my parents were hippies, so I grew up in the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco when I was very young. They went to Haight-Ashbury in the summer of love, 1967. And so, you know, I always thought different. You know, I had hippie parents. Eventually, I was on my own. I started hitchhiking at 12 and was on my own by the time I was 14. And so my parents got into some trouble with the law, and I was incarcerated as a youth myself. So I had my fair share of troubles, got kicked out of every school that I ever went to, until I started paying for school and what I wanted to learn. And so I'm a rebel at heart. And then I started modeling. I moved to Milan in 1989. I became a Versace model, worked with the original supermodels. I had digestive problems when I was modeling and I was bloating. And so I didn't know anything about nutrition. So I went down to the English bookstore and bought books on herbs, nutrition, fasting, etc. And that was 35 years ago. And so everything's been unfolding since then. As a Versace model, I had a bit of a rock star phase. Tokyo, Milan, London, Miami. Miami really blew up in the 90s, and I was all part of that. Actually, that's where I did my Versace campaigns because he bought a big house down there, and my agent helped facilitate that. And so I had a rock star phase, and I got really heavy into drugs and alcohol and partying. And I cleaned myself up around 1999. I moved to LA to start an acting career. And from there, I knew I couldn't build an acting career as a drunk. So I found Vipassana meditation.
Oh, Vipassana. Yeah. Changed my life.
Yeah. Vipassana changed my life and sobered me up. And then I started working with indigenous Maori healers from New Zealand. And then from there, I started working with an herbal company in the Amazon rainforest, 2005, and I drank the ayahuasca with the Shipibo Indians and had 3 profound visions. And they've all been unfolding on the internet ever since. Because when I came out of the jungle in 2006 with all this exotic footage on herbs and shamanism, YouTube was a brand new reality. And so that brings us up to the present moment. I've been on the social media for 2 decades.
Wow. Could you just pick up your earpiece because the voice just got better? And
Okay.
just reminding myself to cut this part out.
Oh, do you want me to repeat that? So,
No, now I hear you good.
because there was some feedback on it or something,
Okay.
so I pulled one of them out.
Let's see if we can. You have automatically on echo cancellation here.
Okay.
Yeah, but is it good?
Yeah,
Are you
it's
good?
good now.
All right, cool.
There's a faint one in the background, but that it might not pick it up.
Yeah,
Anyways.
yeah. Anyways, let's. So I want to paint you a picture, and I got this from Daniel Vitalis when I listened to one of his seminars. This was like maybe 10 years ago. But if a zookeeper came across a chimpanzee living the way most modern humans do, indoors all day, under artificial lights, isolated from tribe, eating processed food, glued to a glowing screen, how do you think that zookeeper would describe that animal's state of well-being?
Sick.
Sick.
Sick. Ill. I mean, that's a sickness. Well, and you see zoo animals as it is. I went down to the Mayan temples. I've explored down there a lot, and there's a zoo down there called Xcaret, and it's got some Mayan temples on there, and there's Mayans that dress up in their old style dress. And I went into the zoo, and I had never seen a jaguar, a puma, a black jaguar, and I was like excited. I was going to see this animal, and the thing was fat as hell. And it was a zoo animal. It makes sense. It's caged up. It's not in its wild habitat. And so, as it is, we have become domesticated zoo animals. We're in these closed environments. The more I get healthy and the more the world advanced into this synthetic iteration, I just want to have my clothes off. I want to be barefoot in the ground, outside as much as possible. I do live in the desert right now. It is 110, 115 degrees out there for multiple months in a row. So indoor environments are good, right? I couldn't survive out there like that. And so there is a place for domestication. There is a place for air conditioning. There is a place for a nice home. I also have electric bikes that I can actually ride through the desert and have the wind blowing in my hair. If I had a regular pedal bike, it would be too slow. I would get pounded by the sun and just the exercise out there. So I get to enjoy myself with the modern day accoutrements. However, it's we require balance. Also, these domesticated items, plastic crap from China, is choking off our life support systems on this planet. Netflix produced a film called The Shopping Conspiracy, about the one-click shopping on Amazon, and we're just constantly buying. And we make 190,000 polyester plastic garments like an hour or a day or something, like something insane. And then we throw it away and we ship it to Ghana because Ghana is a poor country that will take our waste. But there is no throwing away because it ends up in the ocean. And that's the Atlantic that ends up in Miami. So there is no away, right?
Yeah. That's crazy. I'm totally with you. And you mentioned like Vipassana, doing some ayahuasca. Have you had like any other form of initiation moment?
Oh, let's see. Um, living on your own as a child, um, you know, surviving maybe at 14. I mean, that we were kind of men back then, anyways, right? Back in the primal state. When you, right around that age, it was coming of age anyhow. I do believe the Maasai do their rites of passage when the boys are 13. So, but definitely living in the United States of America and being homeless or surviving on my own, that was definitely a rites of passage. Now, there's probably some arrested development in there because of, emotional issues, being abandoned by, your family or your parents or whatever. Um, but I think it helped me grow immensely going out there and fending for myself. It definitely made me the human being I am today. In business, I'm tenacious. There is, there's no stopping me. I'm like the guy in the ring you just can't knock out, and I'm just gonna keep coming, right? And so there's a tenacity about me. And so there's that growing up on the street. Then I was arrested and incarcerated as a youth, and I did escape, and they found me 3 states away in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So I don't know if that's a rites of passage, but
I think that can be. Of why
I
not?
escaped. I escaped prison, right? Whatever. I mean, I was a fugitive. I mean, these types of experiences, are powerful. Most people aren't having these days. It was all I could do to get my children out on a bicycle in this world that we live in right now. I mean, what's more powerful as a child being on a bicycle? Nothing, right? That's true freedom and liberation. And so, and now people are just domesticated, scrolling, shoveling garbage into their face, and we're fat, sick, and nearly dead. The American food supply has been decimated. It's not that we're just gluttons, it's the food supply has been contaminated. And so yeah, I mean, some types of rites of passage, definitely help. I think that's a critical missing thing in today's world. And then other rites of passage, becoming a father helps. Drinking ayahuasca in the Amazon, sitting Vipassana courses. I didn't just sit one, and one is a pretty good rites of passage, right? But I sat quite a few. Um, being arrested and having uh, problems when I was younger, that can wake you up as well. These are all arduous and challenging things to deal with.
But you're a father, right?
Yes.
And what
Now,
it?
yes.
Yeah. How old are they? Do you have several?
14 and 17. I wish I
Yeah.
had several. I got 2 now, and I'm looking for more. So I'm looking for the.
Anybody listening? Here's the green light. Yeah, and
So,
and have you put them through? I bet they haven't like escaped prison or anything yet. But have you like put them through some form of rites of passage,
well,
intentional rites of passage?
Not quite yet, although the divorce was definitely emotionally challenging. And no, they have not been through that yet. My son plays hockey, and he went as far as juniors, um, and so uh, he went after his dreams so far, but nothing, no, nothing incredibly arduous yet. And my daughter is, in ballet and figure skating, which is challenging creatively, but nothing too challenging. Being with me as their father, um, I'm with them all the time. I love them. I just can't get enough of them. I want to be around them and present with them. I'm a stay-at-home father since day one. I'm there, but I definitely make their life challenging. I mean, I'm Troy Casey up in your grill all the time. It's like that's got to be tough. And so they know they can get support, but they can't get away with bullshit.
And can you give me some example of bullshit they can't go away with?
Well, let's see. Well, my son, the hockey is expensive. There's a huge investment in that, maybe $50,000 a year when he was going to boarding school and stuff like that. So he knows that I will support him on his journey, but I make it extremely difficult when he wants money. Like, what do you want it for? What are you going to use it for? Or I'll give him money and then I'll look, what'd you spend it on? And he spend it on video games. I've learned, because they were Waldorf children, to keep them away from media and the devices as much as possible. However, there's yin and yang, and we're living in the modern world. We went through our second divorce because my wife and I, we got back together just before COVID and then moved to Sedona during COVID. And we had our second divorce and it was worse than the first. So, and it was emotionally draining for the children. And we were just fighting in between each other. My son likes to play video games, and as much as I don't like him on the machines, I think psychologically it helped him, right? It was his little blankie or whatever. And he's very disciplined in hockey. He's amazing. So I had to let a few things fly. Otherwise, if his life is just so difficult, he could, that could come out as emotional dysfunction. And I had to keep the eye on my daughter. We got a dog, which helped as well. And things have dissipated now. And, as parents in the modern world, we're always doing the best we can. It's just what tools are available. And I learned a long time ago that being close proximity, my heart to their heart, is important. So presence is important. And then doing the best you can to keep them away from the social media. Now, my daughter doesn't have access to her phone, but sometimes she has to text her mom or her friends for homework. So sometimes I give it back to her and then I take it away from her and I hide it. And so I'm just on them all the time. Bullshit. What is the example of bullshit? I don't let them be lazy. I don't let them be complacent. I don't know if I can give a specific example that I can think of right now. Anyways, maybe ask me another question. I don't want to get too stuck on, but I'm on my kids. And the biggest thing is, as a father, I'm there, I'm present. I talk to them about sex. We're in a weird world. There's OnlyFans and hookup culture everywhere. And so, I'm going to tell you about the disease. I'm going to tell you about the abortions that I had. We're going to talk about this because nobody talked to me as a young man. And then I went out and made a ton of mistakes. And right now with the COVID vaccines and the contamination of the human being, if you have sex with someone, you better make sure that you're in love with them. And, so we're having these conversations as opposed to pushing them under the rug.
Now, you were mentioning the COVID vaccines and sex like directly after one another. So we're also going to say that you should not only be in love with them, but that the person you're going to have sex with should not have been vaccinated. Is that an issue when it comes to the contamination that you were mentioning?
Well, if you're looking at spike proteins,
Yeah, exactly. Because we had Dr. Peter McCullough on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he said like that shedding is actually a thing. That is real.
Oh, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. And my understanding is detoxification is also real. But if you're dealing with a human being that allowed the poison into their body, then that is the level of consciousness. You may come into a block once you start having children. My values are, I only eat organic food. I don't give a shit what it costs. I only eat organic food. So if you got a partner that doesn't understand that, then that's going to be a huge conflict. If you add to it, women, if they have more than 5 sexual partners, their opportunity for pair bonding goes way down. I think more than 5 sexual partners, there's only there's a 80% chance of divorce, right?
Wow.
And if you're looking at broken families, and I'm here to tell you that I came from a broken family. Um, I got a divorce as well. I tried to keep my family together as much as possible. I think it's important to keep the unit together. And I think that our society, the way we're domesticated and designed to go to work every day and not really pay attention to what the children are eating, the nourishment and nurturing came from the feminine, right? And then we allowed the females to go into the workforce, and who's watching the children? And the food's been poisoned since 86 or so. 86 to 90s is when they introduced GMOs and glyphosate. And so, and I'm not pointing the fault at anyone. It's just we've lost our way as a species, and it's time to get back to what's balanced. And we see a bigger move that goes towards regenerative farming, holistic parenting, natural childbirth, water birth, organic food. We're seeing this people that are disconnecting from the media, more as an energetic template. Again, my children have the phones. My ex-wife decided to buy them phones to get back at me, but we had both invested in Waldorf education, which had zero media policy. Rudolf
Yeah.
Steiner was a living master.
Yeah, that's wild. So I I was really curious when I saw your 9 pillars of health program, because this is a show about lifestyle design, and it feels like that is a system to design an optimal life. Could you just like share what it is and how does it help people?
So the 9 pillars of health curriculum was developed over the last 35 years of keeping myself healthy and vital. And so, and then teaching, whether it's on stage or on video, I need to keep it in a framework that not only keeps me on track, because I can talk ad nauseum. And so I want to make sure that I have value to whoever's watching. And so, so for me, it keeps me on track. And then for the audience, it keeps it very simple. There's 9 pillars of health. They're, call them immutable laws, first principles in physics. You can't have this without that. So for example, the body is 70% water. It's a good idea to put pure water into the body. The body requires sleep, right? And we are wired to the celestial realm. So it's a good idea to have good circadian health. The body requires movement. Exercise is a necessity, not a luxury. And so, and walking is the best exercise. Many people are overtraining these days. The stress factors, also part of my curriculum, is the 9 pillars of health, the 7 factors of stress that destroy health, and the 5 detoxification pathways that restore health. And so most people don't understand where the stress is coming from, and stress summates in the body. So the 9 pillars helps keep me in track and everybody else in track. And these are first principles. No one can argue with them. We're mostly water. We've got to move. We've got to sleep. You're a thinking, breathing machine. So it's a good idea to make sure the diaphragm is programmed properly so you're not a mouth breather and a neck breather, because that's going to create cortisol. Chronic elevated cortisol creates inflammation. Inflammation creates disease. And so we want to stay balanced. Many people come to me, it's like, Troy, what do you have to boost testosterone? Because everyone's on TRT and steroids right now. right? And peptides, they're being sold as these innocuous, like, lifesavers, but that's bullshit because now you're a drug addict. And so, and I'm not here to shame and guilt anybody that is on them. I'm here to shame and guilt the influencers that don't tell people that they're on them, like the Liver King, and or people like Dave Asprey and Gary Brecka, which they don't use that on their front end advertising, that my body comes from drugs manufactured in China. What they say is a bunch of metabolic health jargon, little word salad on oxygen and ice baths and this type of thing. But what they're selling is drugs on the back end. They give you these little blood tests or genetic tests and say, this is what's wrong with you. And then we have the magic pill over here, the $10,000 of supplements, hormone peptide supplementation, which is fucking drugs, people. This is fucking drugs manufactured in China. And so I have contention with the influencers that are bamboozling, lying, cheating, stealing their audience, this whole bait and switch type of marketing. If you're on TRT or peptides, or your doctors and fitness professionals are offering this to you, I am here to tell you that I am living proof. Paul Chek is living proof that you don't need the drugs. You need the sunlight. You need the magnetism from the earth. You need the pure water. You need the pure food. People are arguing all over the internet. Oh, organics are bullshit. Well, I'm fucking living proof. You want to pay attention to the quality of food that you are eating. Whether you call that organic or you call it shit on a stick, I don't care. But you're going to need higher quality food than the commercial garbage, non-foods that are, especially in the United States of America. I know Sweden and certain parts of Europe, they have higher standards. But I also know that we have geopolitics, and our trade agreement makes you take our crap.
Yeah, I think the crap in the States don't even come in here, but it's getting worse in Sweden as well. But there's so much noise out there about like vegan, carnivore, detox, pharma, peptides, as you said. So how do you personally filter through the noise and find what's actually true for the human body? Like that is the $1,000,000 question for me.
That's great. Well, okay, let's go back to zero. Let's go back to God. Let's go back to nature. My philosophy is that nature heals everything. Okay, nature provides, God provides everything we need. So how can I get back to nature in as many facets as possible while I am living in this domesticated world? And I am not afraid of becoming a naked I'm not afraid of becoming a naked stick-carrying Sasquatch, okay? I'm not afraid of that. And actually, the World Economic Forum, they want to push everybody into the 15-minute cities, the prisons, right? The prison without a prison type of thing.
That's actually happening in our town, Sundsvall. They are talking so much about 15-minute cities as it's convenient and it's amazing and it's the best.
Yep, and it
Not
says
that
this
it's a
in
prison.
Yep, prison, exactly. And with the Wi-Fi and all of the contamination and the shitty building materials and the phthalates and fragrances they spray in them, we have them here in Scottsdale. They're called the Optima buildings, and they're literal prisons, and all these digital marketers live over there, and you know it's like a badge of honor to live in the digital prison. And they've got a running thing on top of the roof, and they've got a cold bath and sauna, and the yoga room has strawberry fragrance, phthalates, hormone disruptors. I was like, what the fuck is that? I'm doing yoga, bro. And there's this little thing out there spraying chemicals on us. I'm like, this is fucking nuts, man. I'm actually, I like modern day toys. I like technology, but I also like the analog. And, you know, I've been on podcasts and coaching sessions since I woke up this morning. I will eventually, in the next hour, turn this thing off and go outside. And I'll be outside for hours, and my phone won't be on me. I'll go to the gym. I'll do my social hour. I don't understand how people have these AirPods in their ears in the gym you try and talk to people today and they're like, huh? Huh? Like nobody's present. They're all in their own little world. And it's like people are stupid, literally. And you look at the COVID vaccine, that makes you stupid. Smartphones make you stupid. Overusing Chat GPT and not really doing any kind of skill-based work makes you stupid, right? And so eating shitty food makes you stupid. Drinking shitty water makes you stupid. So everybody's all doped up on stupid pills. And so, but I'm not here to insult everyone. I'm here for the solutions. The 9 pillars will guide you back to your soul. Very simple. And so, so the 9 pillars of health are all designed, and legacy is the most important pillar. And I put this in my book, Ripped at 50, A Journey to Self-Love. We should have sent you one.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we will get that out to you. So,
please do.
yeah, the 9 pillars of health, the most important thing is legacy.
Why
For
is
men,
legacy the most important?
where there's no vision, the people will perish. And so I think that says some holy scripture.
Yeah, I think it's from the Bible.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
where there's no vision, the people will perish. If you don't have a purpose, man's mind can cut through the fabric of reality. Anything you see in the world was created in the mind of man first. So nothing's more powerful than a made-up mind. And so if we're just chasing paper, and I put this in the first chapter of my book, as a fashion model, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. This just sounded good for money. Little did I know that there was this Diddy party underneath of gatekeeping homosexuals, right? And all these layers of game playing. It was mind blowing and soul robbing. That's why I drank and used drugs, because that was all free and that felt good. And trying to do business around all these homosexuals that wanted to sodomize me and all that bullshit, right? I wasn't interested in any of that stuff. And so I'm there to make a career for myself. And so, and it took me a while to put 2 and 2 together. And now we see that, oh, there was a big Diddy party, Epstein list. John Luke from Models One, he was on the Epstein list. And, Abercrombie and Fitch which was after, my era. So again, chasing paper, this can make you sick. It made me an alcoholic. I had no vision. I had no purpose. I had no legacy mapped out, nothing I really wanted to desire. I postulate the reason this is so important for men is because men can go out and literally cut through the fabric of reality. I've known motocross champions, they want to do these jump Caesar's Palace, go faster, break records, surf big waves. This is like a single focus that a man has and can create something out of nothing. The Wright brothers wanted to fly like an eagle. Steve Jobs wanted to put a handheld computer in everyone's hand. So man needs purpose. Women, I postulate, having children is purpose enough, because what is more sacred than having children? And I truly believe that job number 1 is the nurturing and the nourishment of the children. This is the future of the human species. Now, we've been psychologically warfared that feminism is a good idea. And I'm for the empowerment of all the liberation and empowerment of all human beings. But this is divide and conquer and ruined the family and made young women all OnlyFans, right? Everybody's a hooker now, an online porn star hooker, right? And then hookup culture, having sex, and then women only want to date guys with money. And guys with money can just sleep around with whoever they want because usually they're good looking and they have money. And, so it's made a big challenge for us to grow to the next level. Or here's the other thing, Morgan, it's a catalyst to help our awakening, because most people like me and you want something better, want something more. All I want to be is an honest man, an honest, righteous man, a father, a husband, a businessman. I choose to do honest business. I do what I say. What comes out of my mouth, I do, period. If I don't, then I admit my faults and make reparations to make sure that I come correct, right? I choose to be a righteous man. Like, who out there raises their hand? I want to be a righteous man, right? This is the evolution and the revolution that's required. I choose to be healthy, raise my frequency and vibration, strong as an ox, fresh out the box at 60 years old this year,
Yeah,
right?
baby.
That's my choice. The mind is clear, the speech is honest, right? The body is strong, the mind is flexible, the body's flexible. You're supple, not rigid on steroids, but as you go into the next phase of wisdom, the wise elder, that you are supple, like a supple leopard, right? As opposed to a rigid, like when you're in your 20s, like, let me go into the army. But if somebody presses on you or any kind of stressors, or you have to be dynamic with that, you're going to snap your Achilles because you're on all these drugs, these peptides and these steroids, TRT, that's drying your tissues out. The Chinese, the Qigong masters, they knew this, right? You want to be able to flow through life. You want to be able to move like a ninja.
Yeah, let's get that hydration going. So sad I didn't get any tea or anything with me here. So the nine pillars. I'm wondering if you have a pillar that is focused on relationship, community, socializing, and what do you think about that as a pillar for health?
Yes. So I have the relationship pillar. And the relationship pillar, community, is directly related to immunity and overall mental health. We want, in my relationship pillar and in my online course, because I have a course that goes through all of this for coaches. And so I certify the certified health nuts. And so the relationship pillar goes through gratitude and forgiveness, because oftentimes we're always reaching and searching for something outside of ourselves, but we need to be grateful for what we have. When we're grateful for what we have, more of what we want comes to us. And then it's necessary, especially as men, that we don't carry the burden. If someone has wronged us, especially our parents, and when we're younger, when our nervous system is myelinating, 0 to 7, if somebody has wronged us, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, violence, etc., it's a good idea to work through that and forgive, because those oftentimes, our curse is our gift. So the challenges that were presented for us allows us to grow to the next level when we face them. If we run away from them, that's probably you're just going to deal with addiction, obesity, sloth, these other emotional issues that translate into the body, disease, cancer, etc. So it's a good idea to work with forgiveness before you get cancer, for anger, resentment, things that you carry in your liver and your organs. They can manifest as dis-ease later because you are not in ease and flow. So I choose to forgive and release the past. You can use affirmations, conscious language, and just be grateful for our parents, even if they wronged us, and forgive as much as we can. And then ultimately, community is so important. Socializing, this is how I get my spiritual food. I must go out. It's very hot here in the valley, but and Scottsdale is not as social. I've lived on the beach most of my adult life, Miami and Venice, Santa Monica. And I love being outside on my bike at Muscle Beach, talking to people, going to the juice bar. This is a huge part of who I am. And since I moved to Scottsdale, it's not a very social town unless you're looking at drinking, right? Drinking and cocaine, like they'll do that down at the bars in another part of town, but I don't do that. So that's not my social scene. Is to ride my bike to the gym every day. And then I like the gym because oftentimes when you go to a gym, you have what's called lifers, people that are dedicated to their health and fitness, and they go in there every day, and the morning crew is usually lifers. And then you've got some form of positivity. Again, we might not agree on politics or whatever, but there they are every morning, hi, and I can build some friendships. And like I said, this hasn't been the most social place I've been, but through various circumstances, my children are in school here. And so I choose Scottsdale right now. I'd like to get back to the beach, though.
And you, like you mentioned about forgiveness and being traumatized through different various things that can happen to you in life. What are some of the best healing modalities you've experienced?
Well, we've already discussed Vipassana meditation. I think that all knowledge is knowledge of self, first of all. And that's one of the names for my online community, the real ones, the red pill mofos, the Knowledge of Self University. And all healing ultimately is an inside job. So while I can guide you and I can recommend, or you can come on one of my retreats to do ayahuasca or ibogaine, or I'm doing a body electronics emotional release self-sabotage retreat. You can come on that, but ultimately you are going to bring yourself to the healing. You're going to be honest with yourself. You're going to drink a potion or do some yoga or have massage technique, and you are going to release, or you're going to be presented with the idea of maybe it's time to release that. So, yeah, ask that question a different way.
Yeah. What is the craziest healing you've seen?
Well, I worked with Maori healers from New Zealand for many years, and they specialize in birthing and fertility. And I saw my friends from Topanga Canyon. They were a young couple. Um, they were real estate moguls. They had plenty of money, and they wanted to have children, and they couldn't conceive. And they worked with the Maori, and they have two beautiful children. They're probably in their 20s now. And I watched them host the Maoris over the span of 25 years. And I would park cars for them or check people in. I volunteered. And so I witnessed many, many miracles, many exorcisms, people, screaming bloody murder. They would come in with broken bones. They would reset the bones and heal the body that way. I saw very intense healing. I had my own healings, right? The first time they worked on me, they stepped on my calves. There's a nerve center in the back of my calves. I was laid flat on the ground. They stepped on my calves, and they walked up my back. And these people are like 300 pounds, and they stood on the back of my skull. It bounced, and I was like, woo! I've had some powerful healings, and I've been working with them for 25 years. So I've seen miracles with body work, with the Maori. Also, they're spiritual healers. They can chant and sing, and they can see and read the body and see what's off energetically. And they know how to either ask them a question or step on them or strip the fascia or go in and get the fibroids or the cysts or the tumors and like just get them into the circulatory system. I've seen them use sticks and rocks, and I've seen miracles. So Maori healers are, one of the biggest experiences that I've had in my life, witnessing healing. Ayahuasca is another fantastic tool. I've had my own healings with that. Iboga, another powerful, that's known as the grandfather medicine, and the ayahuasca is known as the grandmother. And, these powerful psychedelics are not right for all people, especially people that have psychosis or anxiety and living in the cities, and they're all messed up from modern day conveniences, really. And or maybe they're on medical drugs, SSRIs. They should not be doing psychedelics. No way. Other people that are faking it until they make it, and they think they're in a certain position and they're not grounded in their life, and maybe they don't even have a job, and they start going and doing psychedelics, that's going to blow your mind, right? And if you're not grounded in reality and you don't have the tutelage or the coaching to go in and integrate these messages, because it's all about integration and embodiment of the ideas that you get, whether it's carnivore, vegan, any of these ideas, right? Whether it's peptides or no peptides, or whether it's qigong or yoga, you still got to go out and practice it for 6 months to a year and see how your body's working. If somebody's going to turn you on to David Goggins and you're going to start running and you're going to fucking ruin your knees, right? Like, you want to look in the mirror and you'd be like, is that my highest choice? Well, it might be a good choice for someone who's 17 and they're lazy, but it might not be the optimal choice for someone who's 45 or 50 and has musculoskeletal issues. So again, it's integration and embodiment of ideas. Should most people start with psychedelics? No, they should start with Vipassana. And as it is, the questionnaire with Vipassana is, are you crazy? Have you ever been
Yeah.
in a medical facility? Are
Have
you
you
on
taken
drugs now?
drugs? Yeah.
There you go. So, you know, and right now we're all phoning it in. And usually when people have an ache or pain, they go see a medical doctor. They're asymptomatic, they're not necessarily sick. But if they get sick, they go see a medical doctor because this is socially acceptable. They give their power and authority up to the medical industry. And then if you're fat, you go see a personal trainer. And most of the personal trainers don't know anything about biomechanics. They don't know anything about corrective exercise, and they will load up a dysfunctional system or a fat body. And that can actually do more damage than good. Me, I get people on walking programs. You're not healthy, you're not doing good. Try walking an hour a day, 7 days a week. See where that takes. Oh, you can't do that? All right, start with 20 minutes, 5 days a week, right? And so keep it simple, constantly keeping it simple. The body needs to move, man.
Yo, let's move it. I feel if we were in the same room, we would wrestle right now.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Let's get it on.
Have you done some martial arts?
I've done a little bit. I got a bigger mouth than I can back it up with my fighting skills, but
Yeah.
I've got a big affinity and respect for Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I was in Miami in '92 when they started the UFC, and I was like, oh my God, who's this guy Hoist Gracie, 170 pounds with a gi on, and he beat everybody. And so I was enamored with that and followed, the Gracies over the years, and I've become friends with Chrome Gracie, who is Hickson Gracie's son, the heir to the whole Gracie legacy. And
He started fighting in the UFC a couple of years
yes,
back. Yeah.
yes, I sponsor him with some of my superfoods,
Cool.
and so I have a lot of respect for that. My son does the Muay Thai over here, and I had black mold exposure, so maybe I'll get more training. I do qigong, but my training since I had black mold and had chronic fatigue and weird arthritis is it's just constant movement. So I do a lot of bike walking, and will I get back into martial arts? That is to be determined. The last thing I want to do is injure my shoulders.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of injuries, and my teeth and stuff like that. I'm friends with Tim Welsh, Sugar Sean
All
O'Malley's
right. Yeah.
coach.
They're
They're
doing
out
awesome.
here. They're not far from me, and I love them, and I'm always invited over there. And so, well, what am I just, am I giving a pile of excuses or what? I don't know. So I have a love for it. I need to dedicate. I'm the type of person, if I dedicate time, I have to do it. I can't talk about, I either have to do it or not do it. And so I'm not doing it right now, but I do plenty of Qigong consistently. And I have taken some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So there you go. I consider my life very similar to a martial artist's as far as being healthy, mind, body, spirit, balancing everything out. And, you know, my body can move. I've adopted my Qigong into ecstatic dance. I like to move my body in as many ways as possible. I like to train on one foot, right? And so if I can get my legs up kicking, and because I've had, like I said, the black mold exposure gave me the weirdest neurological issues in my lower extremities. So I've been working to get my hips on point for quite a few years now.
Could we zoom in on the black mold exposure, because I don't know if we got exposed for black mold, but we moved to Portugal a while back with a caravan from Sweden to Portugal with 3 small kids, and we were new to the caravan life. We didn't know about like ventilation and that the humidity in Portugal was like off the charts. And after a leakage into the caravan, we started just pulling things out, and then we saw something green under the bed. And before that time, we started coughing. My kids got sick a lot. My oldest son got pneumonia. I took him to the hospital several times. Even though we gave him like first homeopathic remedies, tried to do like everything naturopathic, but like in the end, we winded up there, and I don't know what the issue was. Then we tried to rent some Airbnb apartments. It didn't matter if they were like only 1 year old, the luxury villas that we were renting on Airbnb, because we really wanted to not have any mold exposure. We could just like see dots of the mold growing in the bathrooms and everywhere in the apartments or in the houses. So we don't know if we've been exposed, but that is what I'm feeling now, that my health generally is just like a couple of notches down, because I used to be like superhuman, never sick,
Yes. So
full of energy.
there's quite a few things, we'll talk on that. First and foremost, we've trashed the environment. We're in predatory capitalism, which means people will cut corners on building costs and materials. And that means pipes leak anyways, even if they're the best copper pipes out there. Most of it's plastic now. And so if you have leaking water, stagnant water turns into a cesspool. It turns into a pond scum, and the pond scum builds the tadpoles, and then the frogs come on and the dragonflies. This is life, right? And fungus and parasites and bacteria, these are Mother Nature's garbage cleaners. When you die, your carcass will be eaten by maggots. It'll break it down to go into the earth, right? And then the microbes in the earth will uptake that nutrients with the soil, and then the plants take up those bioavailable minerals from the soil. This is the closed organic life cycle. So the fungus and parasites are Mother Nature's garbage cleaners, and we've trashed the fucking planet, right? Big part of my awakening was working in the Amazon rainforest and witnessing the destruction down there, drinking the ayahuasca, that cup of just primordial earth, and going, I'm a fucking man. I have a fucking responsibility. I am intrinsically in part of the relationship of all things on the earth, everyone and everything. So it's a good idea to start working towards integrated philosophies and utilizing the gifts that I have been given in front of the media to change the world around me in a beneficial way so we can all live on this planet in a balanced way. And we are simply out of balance. So that was my big wake-up call. And if you work in the Amazon like I did, you know that a nice house that's built there, and they just use 2x4 wood, and the craftsmen come in and build it, and they put green screens around the house, and they're pretty little jungle houses. The jungle eats those houses within 8 years. Period. It's just moist down there, and some of it's green mold and those types of things. Stracobotrytis and Aspergillus penicillium, these are strains that are deadly, and they can give you pneumonia. I had walking pneumonia. I had pneumonia. I don't go to the doctor, so I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. You want to know what the medical diagnosis is? I don't know. I don't fucking care, right? I'm either healthy or I'm sick. And how do I get healthy again if I'm sick? Sunlight, grounding, water, nutrition, movement, forgiveness, knowing my purpose. If you don't have, um, um, if your dream is big enough, you don't need a crisis, right? So having the legacy piece, having the purpose piece is very important. That's going to get you out of bed in the morning. That's going to get you healed if you're sick. So everything that I teach and preach, I've actually had to utilize for my own health and healing. So we trash the environment, the building materials, predatory capitalism. People don't give a shit. If they're a landlord and the place has damage, well, they'll just paint over it and then just rent it. I'm in a safe environment. This is one of the reasons why I'm not trying to run away from Scottsdale. It's a good idea. I want to go to the beach. I'd like to go to Florida. It's very humid there. California has the best climate, probably in the world, right? That's why it was so populated for so long, Southern California. But dude, the politics, you want to talk about parasites, leeches, fungus, mold, go to fucking Southern California right now. It's a shithole, right? They trash that place with ideas, and it makes sense. Those ideas can literally, cut us off. The memes, the mimetic viruses, the brain viruses. So that's what's happening in Southern California. So there's a lot to be said about mold. Look at your environment. And if you're feeling sick or under the weather, chronic fatigue, weirdo diseases, weirdo autoimmune, chronic fatigue, allergies, look no further than your breast implants. And if you don't have breast implants, then look at the house for mold.
Yeah. And you mentioned like California and parasitic ideas. What are the worst parasitic minds or ideas that are circling around these days, in your opinion?
Oh, that we're all equal. I mean, men and women. I mean, all the shit's coming out of Hollywood, right? All the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're already a melting pot in the United States of America. Everyone's included. But the idea that men and women are equal, that's bullshit. We are complementary opposites. And this whole idea around toxic masculinity and feminism, this is all bullshit. This is divide and conquer. And so men and women are complementary opposites. We need to be balanced. And who's taking care of the children? And who's taking care of the children? And you're giving away your life to a corporation or a man that's running that corporation. These are your childbearing years. And then once you make the money, you're going to have children in your late 30s or 40s. This is the illusion that we're being sold, and it's being propagated out of think tanks in Los Angeles, the Rand Corporation, which is very similar to the Tavistock Institute. We don't have trench warfare anymore, World War I, World War II. We have psychological warfare. I went through this on the Mythic Roundtable. It's the Unchained Earth podcast on Spotify. And we interviewed AI and went through all the factual information that's now published, right? Pearl Harbor was a false flag. The Gulf of Tonkin in Vietnam, that was a false flag. That was the commander for the fleet in the Gulf of Tonkin was Jim Morrison's father. Jim Morrison was the singer for The Doors. The Doors were part of the Hollywood MK Ultra, free sex, psychedelics, Into the Populace, Helter Skelter, Charlie Manson, the whole Hollywood. This was the beginning of the Diddy Party. The Vietnam War was televised inside everyone's living room, right? So World War I and World War II, we heard about the stories. The men came home and they were completely traumatized. That was set up because of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the money is fake, right? And this is a petrodollar. And this was set up by the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan. And so then we went to World War I. We saw the Treaty of Versailles. Then the Bush family and other factions in the United States and the bankers propped up Hitler. They manufactured Hitler. They created Hitler. Then World War II, we got into the war through Pearl Harbor because the Americans didn't want to get into the war, right? Just like we are right now. We don't want to be fighting in Israel and all that bullshit. We don't want the Ukraine. That's all bullshit. These are banker wars. All wars are banker wars. And so, I mean, ultimately, this is what we're waking up to. And now we are going through psychological warfare. There's no more trench warfare. The warfare is in the mind, and people are being programmed against themselves, against their family, against the men and the women, against the other races, etc. And so you look at the history of slavery, man has always warred against man. And so racism is manufactured by the media. It's propped up. It keeps going because the media keeps talking about it. So I'm not a racist. I hate everybody. Just kidding. Just kidding. I think that's a fantastic joke. So, and then what you have is, this whole homosexual move. This is not normal. The human race will die if we were homosexuals. And so this is trauma, and people are traumatized, sodomy and pedophilia and all these things. And this is coming out and it's being shoved down our throats that we need to accept it. But this is how you condition the human mind. This is how you fuck it up. This is how you traumatize it. That's why we went to war. The traumatizer, the trench warfare, World War I, World War II, this traumatizes people. This makes people easy robots, right? And if you can't penetrate their mind that way, then you start psychological warfare, and then you start in with the sexes and you sodomize children. And this traumatizes people and makes them much more easy to be programmed and enslaved. And this is what Certified Health Nut is all waking people up about. This is deep levels of conditioning. I say feminism, I say homosexuality, people are going to go fucking through the roof. I don't give a fucking shit. It's time to wake up. I'm not here to fault any human being. It's the same thing with the guys that are on TRT and peptides. I'm not here to shame and guilt you. I'm just here to tell you there is a better way. There is a way that's aligned with God, that's aligned with nature, that's aligned with natural principles. I don't care whether you call it God or the sum total of all things, the ineffable. All is God. The first principle of Sufism is there's nothing here but God. And so that makes you God. That makes me God. We are the droplet of God inside the God ocean, right? Whatever little philosophy that you need to make up your mind, but most people want peace. I should say all people at the heart level want peace. 6% of the population has a propensity towards being a psychopath, right? That psychological kind of human fact, right? And we should compartmentalize those people, but instead we put them in the heads of corporations and government, right? But they should be put in the insane asylum, or at least the insane asylum on, let's say, Maui or the Big Island. You put them out in nature, and nature will heal them. They'll get back into the rhythms of life. But again, this whole push towards inclusion and diversity, and you're dealing with transhumanism. You're dealing with vaccine injured people, and then they don't know who they are, and they have autism, and they have sexual dysfunction, and their sexuality may be misfiring inside their brain. And then you get the psychological warfare and all these idiot teachers and these programs that are developed by the World Economic Forum telling them that they're homosexual, trans, pans, they're a fucking dog or an animal or just whatever this weirdo shit. This fucking bullshit, right? This is a mental disorder, and it comes from vaccine injuries. It comes from poisoned food, right? Because I have no homosexual tendencies whatsoever, even though all the homosexuals in the fashion industry that say, oh, everybody's a homosexual and straight people are just gay people waiting to get their dick sucked. That's their fucking fantasy, right? I have no homosexual inclinations whatsoever. I am a real man designed and desired to procreate and stick my penis in a vagina and fucking come, and fucking that excites me hormonally. I'm not confused. I'm not chemically castrated, etc. And this is what we have. We have mentally and chemically programmed and confusion. And they'd like this confused because then we'd just be, ultimate slaves. So again, no more need for enslaving the Irish, enslaving the Africans, enslaving, the Moors, enslave the Turks and the fucking Genghis Khan and the fucking concubines and, like the Saudis right now. Like everybody enslaves everybody, right? Cut that fucking shit out. This is for the liberation of all human beings. With that much freedom, there's fucking huge responsibility. So everybody watching this, look in the fucking mirror, because if you can't take responsibility for your life, then you probably need a slave master.
And I can't move on from when you said that homosexuality might be triggered from trauma. So the question is, have you experienced or seen or heard of a homosexual that gone through some healing modality, or they've healed trauma or got their health sorted out and then started having a heterosexual experience?
Not so much of that, but I would say every homosexual that I ever interviewed and got honest feedback, every homosexual that I got real with, we asked, they were sodomized by an uncle or an adult when they were a child. Every single one of them.
Even women.
Yes, I mean, there was definitely, I haven't interviewed as many women.
Yeah.
Dykes don't like me.
Yeah.
Because I represent male that probably raped them, strong male, right? And I get that. I have a deep voice. I'm confident. I carry a lot of weight, and that can be a threat. And I understand because people have been traumatized. They've been injured. They've been hurt. But homosexual men are attracted to me. I don't mind people. Just don't try and stick your shit in me. Just don't try and sexual innuendo me. Don't sexually harass me. Don't sexually discriminate against me because I'm not homosexual or I'm a straight man or whatever your fucking head trip is. Like, don't abuse me, right? I accept all people for who they are. Just come straight with me. If you're sidewinding and trying to get something from me, well, I grew up on the fucking street. I don't put up with that shit, you know? And I can sniff it. That's my street smarts. So, and that's just, that's not politically correct in today's world. But here's the thing. I don't give a fuck. I got a planet to save.
And on that note, tell me about your legacy. You got a planet to save.
So my mission, my legacy, my purpose is to raise human consciousness and change all systems. My vision is clean air, water, soil, and equitable systems for all mankind in my lifetime. I'm here to get her done. No one's free until we're all free, and everyone's in the debt slave system currently. Our oil and our tungsten, cobalt, and lithium all come from third world countries that we have slave and child labor pull that out of the ground. And so my political platform is president of planet Earth. And currently I'm president of planet Earth. No one ran against me. You can't run against me. Anyways, you're going to run against yourself. My 4 solutions on my platform are free energy, self-care education, permaculture, and the gift economy. And so, and I go toe to toe with any politicians on that. And so we can align ourselves with biomimicry. Life creates conditions conducive for life. And money is a fictitious, made up idea. We've advanced with technology far enough. The 3D printing can print a house, mold-free house with hemp materials. I think within 24 hours, you can build geodesic domes with hempcrete, which is anti-mold. You can build those things that are indestructible for hurricanes and floods, etc. There's many building materials that we can utilize. Man requires 4 needs: water, food, shelter, and fire. Everything else is plastic crap from China. So let's get back to basics and let's program the human mind with life affirmative principles. I'm utilizing the Kardashian playbook, the Gucci Mane playbook, the rapper's playbook, because that's all flash. We're selling James Dean and Marilyn Monroe out of Hollywood for decades, right? That's the advertising propaganda trick. So Troy Casey Certified Health Nut's doing the same thing. I'm just promoting life affirmative principles. Good for the goose, good for the gander, good for the human, good for the earth, good for the man, good for the wife, good for the black man, good for the black wife, right? And it was prophesized a long time ago that the white man, the red man, the yellow man, and the black man would come around the fire as one. And that time is right now.
Amen. You're preaching, brother. And I got stoked when you mentioned permaculture, and I've been into regenerative farming. Had a farm for 7 years, moved around. And do you see like more and more communities popping up around these ideas? And
Yes.
have yourself been a part of that type of community? Because here in Sweden, many people are talking about it, but there's something about Sweden where we have like the highest amount of population where they are living in a single households. They are single. The suicide rates are sky high. We have a bunch of issues when it comes to community and connecting with other people. So even though we have that ambition to live in a community, like the steps towards coming there, like reaching that point where we actually are self-sufficient and we're living together, it seems like a stretch.
Well, there is a challenge with communes, cults, stuff like that, hierarchy structures.
Yeah.
But we're already dealing with the hierarchy structure. The good thing in the United States, and I'm sure there's other farms in Europe as well, but people that want it, there's farmers, they go, they get the land, they start working it. Like, that's it. It's work. You got to work. You can't just go and move to the community and not expect to work, like work your ass off if that's what you want. In the meantime, invest all your money in your health, and that's going to come from food. Support your local farmers. If you're not supporting your local farmers doing the right thing, And I'm not talking about commercial farms. I'm talking about raw milk. I'm talking about investing in your bloodstream, spending all your money on organic food or companies that are doing that. Here in America, we have Paleo Valley. We have the Purium Superfood Company that I work with, all dried herbs and superfoods from our farms. Then we have Paleo Valley, Joel Salatin in the Shenandoah Valley. He's the lunatic farmer. You can buy mail order product from him. Support your farmers, vote with your dollars on your bloodstream, and then find a farm, go woofing. Find a farm, work on a few farms, see what it's like. It's tough work. I'm an advocate. That's not my job. I will work on a farm if I have to, but for the main part, I am an advocate, and everyone has their own gifts. That's why I'm calling for the gift economy. And so, connect with a farm, become a farmer, see what it's like. No farms, no food. And the communists have always known this. Famine is what controls the people and kills the people. Mao Zedong killed 60 million people in the 20th century. Joseph Stalin, 60 million people. They focus on Hitler, but what they don't tell you about history is they propped Hitler up. So this is all by design. It's up to us to wake up right now, or we'll be enslaved.
Yeah, like I really get that point. Like during the last 20 years when I first got my red pill and just realized like how much of my life and how much of the institutions are like really just trapping us in, keeping us enslaved. It's been like several layers of awakening. I thought I woke up for something, but then there was another layer. So how do you see like being awakened? How do you define that for you?
All knowledge is knowledge of self. Hence why I call my online community Knowledge of Self University. And so, or the real ones, that's, or the red pill mofos. We've got names for everybody, right? And you keep taking that red pill. I mean, bro, I could get as domesticated as anyone else. The thing is I don't like wearing a shirt. I don't like wearing shoes. I only eat organic food. I can't go in commercial places. I don't ride in Uber. I can't stay in Airbnb because of the Glade plugins and the phthalates and the fragrances. I can't go into commercial spaces because they have Wi-Fi. It's like I'm a natural man. I'm a Sasquatch primal motherfucker. I got to be outside if I want my cognitive function and to be pain-free and right, stress-free, pain-free, etc. I have to create my whole life around this and also advocate it, because this is my power, is to speak into existence that which I wish to see, and sound effects matter. And so if I don't change the world around me, the world around me is basically going to just be contaminated, and I will have to accept that. But as a man, I hear the clarion call. All are called. Not everyone heeds the call. And I do believe it's written in the Bible as well. There's 144,000 chosen ones, right? That's what it takes to seed new earth, to raise the frequency and vibration to help teach the others, right? If you look at the parable of Jesus, that was one person that taught many, right? 144,000 will pop the consciousness. I'm one of the chosen ones. I know that. I understand the plight of the Jewish people because I am a chosen one, right? And so I heed the call. Yes, God, thank you very much. I'm right here. Okay. Reporting for duty. Yes, sir. Right here. Right. And the question is, you guys listening, are you one of the chosen ones? Because if you are, you keep going deeper. You keep taking the red pill. What do I need to be healthy? What do I need to be vital? What do I need to be a vital part of society, of the future of the new earth, the new society that we are creating? Buckminster Fuller said, you don't fight the existing system, the oil companies, the drug manufacturers, the pharmaceutical companies. You don't fight that. You design the future, and that will fall to the wayside.
I love that metaphor because I've been saying for a long time that you don't fix Titanic that is sinking. You jump off and build something new. But so many people, organizations, like all those help organizations like the cancer organizations and helping children starving and water aid and da 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 da. Like there are billions and billions that are being poured. And like the intention is good. I'm not questioning the intention, but pragmatically, I don't see it fixing anything.
No, you can't feed the world by creating soup kitchens. The parable goes, you give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, feed him for life. We're here to empower individuals. But right now, I mean, most people are enslaved. If you look at Africa and stuff like that, even if you look at the United States of America, people still have to punch a clock. They have to go into their corporate job. They don't have Maslow's hierarchy of needs taken care of. And so they can start thinking about the future of mankind and my environment that I'm living in. Most people are just, they got to go to work. They got to make the money. I'm an entrepreneur, so I can think beyond that, right? And so, and with AI coming online, most of us are going to be entrepreneurs. We need technology to be our whipping boy and create our needs so that we can be creative artists, right? And what can we create? I believe that human beings can space travel. We can astral travel. All the military and parts of the government, they all know about how powerful the human being is. Astral travel, telepathy, time travel. We've had this technology before. It's just been suppressed. And the human being is the most technological advanced piece of equipment in the whole entire universe. Papa Joe, the great Maori healer, taught me that. And so these computers are prosthetics compared to what the human being can do.
So what do you think about Elon Musk and wanting to colonize Mars and have a whole like colony over there?
Well,
Like I
there's
don't
some.
see how it fits us as like people of the earth.
Yeah, Elon Musk is a dumb fuck, right? Okay, he's fucking smart, or maybe he's a psyop and he's just like the front man for the SpaceX, the PayPal, the Tesla, whatever. It looks like a psyop. If you look deep into it, he seems like a cool guy, right? He's got a bunch of hot wives and some cash, and he seems pretty cool, right? But the fact of the matter is why are you going to seed Mars unless that's either a psyop or there's old technology that, why are you even going to do that when we got Earth? There's plenty of stuff on Earth that we can do, right? This is amazing place, bro. I don't know about you, but I've been in the Amazon. I've been around the world 15 times. I've been to Asia. I've been to Machu Picchu. I've been to the Mayan temples. I lived in California. I grew up in Marin County. This place is pretty fucking awesome, right? I lived in Milan. You see the church that we built there. I've been to I've seen some magnificent places, and so I think if we can fly like an eagle, and the Wright brothers, everybody called them crazy. Imagine what we could do beyond that, and keep the ecosystem instead of just ecocide and decimate the ecosystem. Like, how can we live like animals, like the Native Americans, with inside the ecosystem and maximize our potential there? That's my question, is like, how magical can we make planet Earth? Because I'm living a magical life. I'm living a healthy, vital, right? I'm alive. I'm a Sasquatch fucking gorilla motherfucker, right? I love my body, right? And I like going and swimming in the cold water and playing with my dog and loving on my children. Like, what can we expand from here? That's just a rudimentary taste instead of what we see on the TV, and arguing and ditty parties and transsexuality, like all this bullshit. Dude, come to fucking Sedona and go to ecstatic dance with me. And let's expand the consciousness from there. Or do we have to go back in front of our idiot boxes, as my grandmother used to call the TVs, and like drum up, hate and anger and stupidity and chemical contamination of the waters, etc.? Like, I know secret springs, in this world. There's some in Florida, and you think a corporation backing up their dump truck of fucking toxic waste into the fucking spring? Like, that's a cool thing? No. What about the spring that your children drink out of? No. Let's not do that. That's a dumb idea. Oh, it's a good idea to make money so you can be more powerful than people and enslave others, but that's not a good idea for like somebody like me that has a child and is going to drink out of there and the water's going to give me leukemia, or like the oil exploration did in Ecuador for the Shuar Indians and all their children got leukemia and shit like that. Like, no, let's do something different. Right? Just because that's in the Amazon, there's a bunch of Indians down there that we don't know, and our oil from Chevron is coming from Ecuador in this Indian lands. No, we're fucking responsible for that. Hello? We're responsible for that. No, we don't want to be poisoning other people's children. Fuck all that shit. We're men. Like, rise up. That's not like collateral damage, like, oops, No, fuck that shit. Correct your ways.
So one thing that when I look at Elon Musk, when I ask you that question, like when I look at him, I don't see a person that is out in nature, walking around barefoot, that have like golden brown skin like you and me have. Like I have a hard time trusting people that are not connected to nature.
Yeah, it's fucking dummy. That's what I'm saying.
Because
That's what
you
I'm
can be
saying.
like
It's like,
super intelligent, but you are like dumb intelligent because you don't see the whole picture and you don't connect your intelligence to like the bigger intelligence that is nature.
I mean, is he really that intelligent, or is he just another Barack Obama that's just propped up and he's just a mouthpiece, right? He's an actor. Is he really Elon Musk who's running all these companies, or is he an actor for the globalists? I don't claim to know everything, but I look at the world and I'm like, that sounds bullshit. That sounds like some bullshit, right?
But
Like,
circling back to what you said in the beginning of the interview, that we are like we're using ChatGPT and the smartphones, but it's actually making us more stupid. And you've probably seen the movie Idiocracy.
yes, of course.
Yeah, so they wake him up and basically you can put someone like Elon and he will like basically be smarter than like all of us because we have just like become like so dumbed down.
Yeah, I mean, how did he get into a position of running all those major companies, right? And creating all of that? Is it just through
The
PayPal
American
and
dream, baby.
being a programmer?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, look, bro, I'm not subsidized by drug money. I'm not
Yeah.
subsidized by weapons manufacturers or oil companies, right? This is where the real money's coming from. You see how much waste. You look at our government and what he did with Doge and APAC and all these things and the money we send to Israel and Ukraine. There's so much fucking money. And me as an entrepreneur, dude, I got to work and work and work and work and work. And I got to be tenacious, right? And someone like that just comes out of nowhere and then has all of that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and then they want to put chips in your brain. I don't trust that. Does he seem like a kind of a cool and interesting guy when he goes on Joe Rogan? Yeah. Do I know everything about him? No. But I get the sniff that there's something up with that. Because you're a man of nature, I'm a man of nature. Like anybody that doesn't get that and doesn't get what we've done to the environment, and well, look, you got electric cars. So you would think, okay, let's get off oil somehow. But those electric cars are no better for the environment. They're worse. So we've got to get some kind of free energy devices that you could literally put in an old car in the junkyard and it could fly through space and get around. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need more resources. Let's just somehow perfect some form of energy source that just doesn't contaminate everybody else's land.
Do you believe there's free energy, but it's been suppressed?
Well, free energy is all around. Do Qigong.
And I mean, like
Free
energy that could power this computer and.
Yes, it just needs to be harnessed. Tesla already proved it. I mean, we're living proof. I mean, where do you think Well, first of all, like electricity didn't exist until we harnessed it. The internet didn't exist until we harnessed it. Artificial intelligence did. Well, let's say it actually did exist and then we harnessed it. Artificial intelligence, it's out there in the ethers and the code and the with the electricity. We're just going to tap into it. The thing is that the human beings got that ability. So we can telepathy. We are all knowing, all healing, self-healing, all knowing mechanisms, child of God. We need to tap into that. And then who's figured this out? Well, there's a book from the 1800s, Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And this is a multi-series book where the corporations and the government sent a bunch of operatives to go study with the yogis and the Tibetan rishis because they were touted to walk between walls and time travel. And I think 12 of the 13 operatives that went over there stayed over there, but they filed this report. You can listen to it on YouTube or you can buy the books, The Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And then you've got The Men Who Stared at Goats. That movie was made a few years ago with George Clooney.
With George Clooney, yeah.
Yeah, again, since the trench warfare, we have been interested in psychological warfare and what the human being is capable of and astral travel. Sean Ryan had the number one military guy on astral travel on it. 6 hours. I listened to it. It's pretty interesting. So what can we tap into? If the yogis and the rishis have tapped into free energy and you practice that meditation and you go out to the 0 point, or you smoke the frog and the DMT brings you to that 0 point, or you read some Rumi poetry and you go to the 0 point, what difference does it make? But the 0 point is there. And that's the power of the atom bomb, right? Is the neutrality inside the atom. And that is the power. And we're living inside of that right now. So let's harness that.
Amazing. And people are feeling sick, fed up of life, don't have the energy to like design a life on their own terms. What would you suggest be their first step? And if they're also interested in working with you specifically?
Well, just look in the mirror. There's plenty of functional doctors and people like that and Gary Brecka that'll sell you a genetic test or a blood test. But here's the thing. Just look in the mirror. Do you like what you see? Are you fat? Do you have pimples? Do you have dark circles underneath your eyes? And then after the mirror, go take a shit. Look in the toilet bowl. You like what you see? Could you do better? Okay. And if you can, then you're going to start wanting to move to natural principles because you are an animal aligned with the celestial realm, connected to the magnetism, the energy coming from the sun, the source of all life on earth. This whole chemical slathering of sunscreen all over your body to block out the sun. The sun you want testosterone boost? You want to get your boner back? Go get some fucking sunlight naked. Right? So these are all natural fundamental principles. I teach, there's nothing new under the sun. My time's not free, but there's nothing new under the sun. If people really want, I send them a free book. Right? You can get this on Amazon if you want to support. This is a paperback. I've got online curriculum. I've got my coaches. You can join me at certifiedhealthnut.com or just consume all my media for free. My whole business model is so that I got enough money to have a cameraman follow me around and do the fucking dancing monkey clown show on social media. Hey, this is what a healthy 60-year-old body looks like. This is what your skin looks like, right? And this is what it feels like. And I'm happy and alive and I love my kids and I'm going to ride my bike and go jump in an ice bath later and it's like I'm alive. I feel good. So you're going to need organic food, pure water, movement, sleep, breathing mechanics, relationships, and legacy, baby. Legacy, purpose.
Love that. Let's end it on legacy. Like I love this talk. You gives out so much energy, so much wisdom on your social media. I really encourage people to go check you out. And do you have anything that we didn't say that you want to say?
Yeah, I'm building an army of wellness warriors out there in the world. And so if you'd like to join me in business, we have multiple ways you can do that. I've got an organic superfood company I work with. I've been doing that for 11 years. We own farmland. My business partner's been doing it for 35 years. I certify coaches, certified health nuts in these 9 pillars of health. Join me at any level. People can be affiliates. We've got Google Drives with thousands of videos. You could use my video, no different from like when Andrew Tate was coming up. We've got thousands of videos. Like if you don't want to be in social media, and then you can link it to our affiliate links and all my online products. So there's many ways to work with me, but I'm creating an army of wellness warriors. Watching, liking, commenting on my video helps. If it inspires you and you share it with another, that helps. And just being a silent fan helps as well.
Thank you so much, Troy. This has been fun. We've been shirtless. We've been heterosexual during the whole talk. And it's been a fucking honor, brother. And if I ever go to the States, I don't know why I should leave this paradise right now when it's sunny, but we are trying to escape the Swedish winter. And we are looking for like any form of opportunities where we collaborate with other people in a regenerative permaculture setting. People listening, and also to you, if you know anything, any opportunities, we are down to just leave this country because homeschooling is illegal in Sweden.
Wow.
I don't want to fight to change that because that will take too long of a journey. I just want to find a place where I can practice my freedom more fully than in this country.
Well, that's great. This is the land of freedom. You've seen a bunch of information on the immigration stuff that we had. I mean, we had open borders for a while, but the bottom line is, brother, I meet plenty of people that go through the visa process and get over here. If you want to be in the United States, bro, you can just set your mind to it. And I think Australia's got some good movements going on as well, but just wherever you want to go, brother, just focus your mind on that and go through whatever immigration process it is for being here. I think we have a visa lottery, I think.
Yeah,
and
I
so,
heard that.
Dude, 50,000 people a year, I think, get that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
totally
come,
with you. Yeah. Focus. That's the first thing.
That's it. Awareness
Thanks
is the first step. All right, brother. God bless.
God bless, brother.
Okay. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.